All right, is this thing on?
Hope so.
Welcome to Friday's edition of GameWalks.
Good morning.
This is Jim. I'm
Hello.
Matt. It's the final day of GDC.
Yes, it is. GDC 2013. Winding down.
It's been a fun conference. It always goes by in such a flurry, though.
I'm tired. That's all I can say.
I'm tired, too.
It's a lot of walking, a lot of learning. It's like going back to school.
Yeah.
And a couple social events. So, yeah.
They're
it's
long
a tiring
days. I
week.
mean, you got it. Yeah.
And then tonight, I mean, I have like 12 hours of Bioshock to play.
I know.
So, I mean,
What is
it's not
up with
gonna
that?
help.
It's like all of the people who are truly, the most passionate and caring people in the games industry who want nothing more than to play Bioshock Infinite, one of the highest rated and most anticipated games of the last decade, and they release it in the middle of GDC
The
week.
day that everyone cannot play Bioshock. Yeah.
Stupid jerks. But I am really excited about playing it.
But I
as well.
love you, Ken. I love you. Anyway, so what did you see yesterday?
Well, I started at a talk on CSR Racing, which is a very successful iPhone app.
Yep.
And some interesting learnings there. I would say it was nothing that, a thoughtful person couldn't figure out just by playing the game and thinking critically about it, but it's still really good reinforcement to hear it from those developers.
Yeah, I think what was interesting was, just how much, they were ex-console developers. They'd worked on EA on some of their higher profile titles in the UK, and just the type of console sensibilities they brought to the game.
Yeah.
In terms of like the presentation and production values and animations and iteration on the UI. It's just a lot of it showed the experience and discipline of that development team, bringing it to mobile gaming, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I was surprised to hear that it was between 60 and 70% of their development time and money went into iteration.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's not a ton of crazy design in that game. It's just a lot of content, obviously, but in terms of the mechanics and the presentation, only a couple UI menus, but they spent a lot of time perfecting those menus so that the flow was really perfect for a wide audience.
Yeah, it was cool, and they talked a lot about the importance of the look and feel of the UI and the buttons, and you definitely felt it in that game.
I like they talked about the licensing of the cars a little bit, and how much paperwork they have to go through, because only certain cars can have certain decals, and then some cars can't have
outside
fire.
of their stock color.
Yeah,
stock
none of the cars can have fire when they're using nitrous and stuff like that. So just one of the legal restrictions there for their contracts.
It makes a huge difference. I don't know what it is. I'm not even a huge car guy, but seeing licensed cars in a game makes such a huge difference. It is,
and I think that's why I think it's one of the challenging things about taking that kind of a core loop and applying it to say other themes, is because having that familiarity with the cars is such a powerful thing. If you try and take it to some other medium, it makes it a little more challenging. So kudos to those guys. They did a really good job.
Yeah, they made a great game.
We saw the Diablo talk.
That was the other great game talk that we went to.
Jay Wilson did a really awesome postmortem on Diablo 3, talking about core pillars and kind of how he used the team used core pillars. I think that's 7 or 8 of them to really kind of act as razors on the game about what was important. And in kind of the decision-making process.
Yeah, do you remember some of them? It started with accessible was the number one pillar on the game.
No, they used approachable.
Oh, yes, approachable.
I don't know, it might be a subtle difference, but they kept using approachable, which I think is cool. They had powerful heroes was one of them. I have them all written down in my backpack.
Yeah, it was cool. But the idea behind design pillars is obviously that whenever you need to make a decision on the game, you don't just go off your design instincts, rather you have the entire team unified behind these pillars and you try and make a decision with these pillars in mind.
Yeah, and what was cool about the talk is that, he was, obviously Diablo 3 isn't a perfect game, and there were some things like the auction house, which are obviously quite controversial, and he was very open about that. He was very honest about, hypothesis they had about how certain things would work, and some things that backfired, and they weren't able to get perfect on the first try. And he was very honest about that, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, he talked about what worked and what didn't work. What worked was the fraud prevention that they got into the game via the
it was the intention was good, and a lot of their changes about the skill system they were very happy with. They were happy with some of the changes to what was the other one?
Well, it was, in terms of the auction house, it was just a feature that players actually really wanted. And it was surprising to see how many players actually engaged with it.
Yeah, the problem is that actually too many people engaged with it. So like they thought only a small percentage of the audience was going to participate, and like 100% of the people went to the auction house, and then 50% use it regularly.
Yeah.
And that kind of blew up the economy in a way they didn't really.
And it
predict.
ruined the itemization basically, because it's like all the excitement of finding items. Yeah.
So that was a very cool talk.
I thought it was very honest. He was very open about the shortcomings in the game. And,
it was great.
And it showed how one team used design pillars really successfully.
Yeah, actually made me want to go back and play Diablo 3 a little bit. And I was like, wait,
yeah, because he talked about some of the patch updates.
I did put like 150 hours into that game, and so I did enjoy it. So that was a good talk. I went to a really entertaining talk. It was only about 25 minutes on a humor in Borderlands 2.
Yeah, I was so bummed that I had to miss that one. Tell me about it.
So it was their lead writer, and what I think the main theme of the talk was like, humor is not delivered in like good writing or like punchlines. It's more about like kind of twisting the player's expectations. One thing he talked about was like pattern recognition, where like you set up a pattern for players in the game, and then when you break that pattern, that's when it's kind of funny. An example was there's the quest where you like shoot the guy in the face. I don't know if you remember that. Yeah, and you know, that comes much later in the game, so they've built up this kind of pattern of questing where you kind of go off. They take like 30 to 45 minutes, and then this other quest comes out of nowhere and lasts like 30 seconds, and is delivered in a funny way. And it kind of breaks that pattern, and that's kind of what causes people to really enjoy it. And the Bane, the Bane, which became like
the one that talks.
Yeah, the one that talks to you. How they kind of built that up was just really great. And so it was a really great talk. And it's not what I expected. And then, but as he was going through the examples, I'm like, I remember that.
Yeah,
like all these
funny.
moments he was talking about, dude, I remember laughing out loud when that happened.
That guy was awesome. He did an Ask Me Anything on Reddit where he did it all in character as Mr. Torque.
Oh, nice.
And it was like, I am a Mr. Torque. Ask me any explosion-related questions. Some of the answers were just hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good.
So that was a good talk.
One of my favorite moments in Borderlands was you had to blow up this helicopter on the top of this platform, and then a bonus objective comes up, and it's like, don't look at the explosion. And so you have to like walk away without looking at the explosion.
Yeah.
And then the bad guy is like, oh my god, that guy's such a badass. He just blew up our helicopter and he didn't even look at the explosion.
That's awesome.
Yeah, those guys are so cool.
Yeah, and that was kind of almost like the Diablo 3 one, where like if your team understands kind of what you're trying to do, then your design team can build on that. So he talked about some examples where like he didn't write some of these jokes, or he didn't write some of the kind of payoff, and the designers, they understood kind of what he was going for, so they kind of built on that and added more things, like the naming quest of the bully mong, that kind of initial quest line had some of that, where the designer helped take it to the next level. So yeah, it's a lot of value in having that transparency on your team and making sure that everyone on the team is on the same page about what your goals are.
Cool. So which talk are you going to first this morning?
I actually haven't checked the schedule yet.
For me, it's a choice. There's 3 great game postmortems I want to go to, and it kind of depends on which type of game I want to go to, AAA, indie, or iPhone. There's Tomb Raider. And then there's
really good.
Mark of the Ninja, the indie stealth game.
Yeah.
And then there's Lily, which was a really good iPad game. It was sort of like a little bit of Legend of Zelda, a little bit of Tomb Raider mixed into one iPad game. It was really cool.
That's pretty cool.
I think I'm going to end up going to the Tomb Raider one, though.
I'm tempted to go to Tomb Raider. I really enjoyed it, as we talked about in one of the previous GameWalks. I think those guys did a great job, so I'd love to learn how they did it, how they approached it. Yeah, so it's been a good week at GDC. Seen a lot of friends.
Yep.
A lot of colleagues.
We got to go to the Blizzard party last night. That was one of
true.
the highlights of my gaming career. So,
Yeah, right. Yeah, is that right?
It's just so many cool people I got to
Matt,
meet.
the Blizzard fanboy.
I am a total Blizzard fanboy.
No, it's cool. You know what I actually really liked about the event last night is that there were so many Blizzard people there.
Yeah.
Like we went to another event. We won't name the company, but there were like no representatives from the company there.
Yeah, it was all the recruiters.
It was just the recruiters, and it's like, wait a minute, I want to come meet the artists. I want to come meet, the people who make the games. That's what's really going to get me excited about your company. And I think Blizzard took the entirely opposite approach, which is way more cool.
Yep.
Where it's like you're going up and like there's Dustin Browder, like the designer of StarCraft 2.
I had a bone to pick with him because they had a bar, and all the drinks at the bar were themed after the game. So they had a World of Warcraft drink, which I think was like Asian themed for the Pandaria expansion. They had a Diablo drink, which had like little like blood in it with like grenadine syrup. And the StarCraft drink was like Raynor's drink, and it was a Jack and Coke. I was like, Raynor is a cowboy. He doesn't drink Jack and Coke. He just drinks Jack. He just drinks whiskey. In fact, in every cutscene, he just has a glass of whiskey. Like more cutscenes than not, he's holding a glass of whiskey. So I was a little upset at the characterization.
Yeah, you got to get Chris Metzen on that. He's got to come over and.
This is very loud. We're walking past a construction site.
Apologies.
Anyhow, almost to the convention center.
Yeah. But no, that was a cool event last night. We saw the Battlefield 4 reveal on Tuesday night.
That was cool.
What do you think about that?
So I definitely am excited about the graphics and the multiplayer. It was a single player demo, and even in the gunplay in the single player demo, you could see the multiplayer influences coming through, like the really strong gunplay. You could give orders to your squad mates.
Yeah.
Felt very tactical, big open battlefields. That was all really cool. But they claim in the demo that they're really focusing on telling an excellent story and narrative.
Human emotion.
Human emotion that's going to try and be like, Black Hawk Down. And I don't know if that's in that game team's wheelhouse. Certainly they're going to deliver an excellent multiplayer shooter. I was not convinced from the demo that they were going to be able to tell, a human war story.
Yeah, I agree with that. I guess...
I'm still excited about the game.
Yeah, I mean, I love Battlefield 2, I love Battlefield 3 multiplayer, and I think Battlefield 4 is going to continue to be great on the multiplayer side. I guess my initial impressions, I didn't really see much that was new in terms of gameplay that would separate the current generation from what this will be the supposed next generation of games. I mean, graphics obviously continue to improve, but yeah, I'm gonna.
I'll continue to monitor it. Yeah, the jury's still out for me.
Trailers, they'll show a little bit more of the difference that they'll be adding in.
If you haven't seen the trailer, it opens up with Total Eclipse of the Heart.
Yeah.
So, like, in terms of all the M-rated violent war game trailers that open with Total Eclipse of the Heart, it was definitely my favorite.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, but that's a great team. I mean, Frostbite's great technology, so I'm sure it will be fun. And I'll pick it up regardless.
Yeah. Well, we're here at the conference. Final day of GDC. We'll give you full updates next week when we're back to our regularly scheduled GameWalks.
All right, sounds good.
Cool.
All right, have a good one. Have a good weekend.